everyone, it's Jonathan, and today we're finally diving into the animation of 2020 and ranking all the animated films from last year in order from least to most favorite. Joining me for this episode is Katie Fabrick. Katie also did the 2019 animation episode with me last year, and we had so much fun I had to have her back. We somehow ended up watching several movies that the other hadn't seen, so we're able to fill in each other's gaps and talk about even more animation than we would if it was just me. All in all, in this episode, we end up covering 22 films in total. How many movies do you have on your list?
I have 18.
Oh, you have more than me.
Oh, wow.
Okay. I think the last time we did this, I had several more, so I ended up
you were like, and I was
Okay.
like, I watched like 7, and you're like, what? I watched like 25.
Okay, well, this time I have 17. So
Okay.
how about you start
close.
since you have one more?
Okay. So, I'm not entirely sure. I said 18, but it's more 17 and a half.
Okay.
Because I did not finish this movie.
Is it the last one in your list?
Yes, it's the last one in my list. It is Pets United. It's a Netflix animated movie.
Okay, I didn't see that one.
Terrible. The only I like in this list, I wrote pros and cons. The only pro is I didn't pay for it because I was already paying for Netflix. But it was boring. It was stupid. I don't know what they were thinking. It should have been like a 4-minute short, and it just kept going, and I'm like, that's it. I'm done. So I'm here to tell you, do not watch this movie. It's not good.
It sounds like... I mean, I finished it, but the final one on my list, number 17, was also a Netflix one that I did not enjoy.
Yeah.
It's called Fearless.
Oh, yeah.
Did you watch that one?
No.
Okay.
I didn't get to that one.
I
forgot about that one.
This one was... I thought it was like a superhero movie, and it sort of was, but it was about this kid who played video games, and he was obsessed with this one game, and then in the final level, for some reason, the main character had 3 babies, and then the 3 babies came into the real world, and then there was this alien that came into the real world from the video game that was chasing them, trying to get the babies to steal their superpower. It was so dumb. This was the dumbest movie. I don't know why I finished it. I should have just been like you and shut it off.
I almost want to watch it now because that's what even.
I feel like in the hands of a good writer, maybe it could have been something, but it was just the most generic, dull action movie, and the animation wasn't even that great. I mean, it was serviceable, but it was just kind of.
I can't get over that premise. What?
It was so random.
Oh my gosh.
What do you have for number 17?
So number 17 for me was the Willoughbys.
Okay.
Am I pronouncing that correctly?
I think so.
I read it and I always want to say Willoughbys, but I'm like, no, that's not how it's pronounced. So yeah, the Willoughbys. I struggled through that movie. I finished it. So that's a step up, I guess. But I liked the animation style and the art style. The plot and the humor just wasn't for me.
Okay.
I found it. I just couldn't laugh at it, or the plot was kind of like such a downer sometimes. I'm just like, okay, I don't. Is it okay to laugh at that? I'm not even sure at this point.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I have it higher on my list, so I'll talk a little bit more about it when I get there. But I understand where you're coming from.
I felt like it just wasn't my style. It wasn't bad. Like, the only bad movie on here really is Pets United, but like, there was just less stuff I enjoyed in that movie, so that was mine.
Did you say what Pets United was about? I
Oh
don't know if you
no.
actually said.
Yeah, the premise is like they live in like Robot City, I think was what it was called. And the main character is this stray dog, and he's so cool because he runs away from the police or something. And it's just like, and then like this evil scientist is like, I'm kicking everyone out of the city, but everyone leaves their pets in the city. So now there's all these evil robots, and the pets have to get back to their owners. And it's just the most boring movie. I'm like, what
Okay.
is going on? This is so boring, but like nothing happened ever. It just was like, well, it's the next scene now, and you're like, okay, do we need this scene? It's like, no, we don't need this scene. This movie's just gonna be like an hour and a half because it can be.
Uh-huh. It's probably one of those movies that they made thinking this is for kids. Who cares if
Mm-hmm.
we make it smart
Yeah,
enough for adults?
that's exactly what it felt like. It felt just like turn it on, and then like you could just be brain dead. Then you can
Yeah.
watch it. Yeah, that was that movie.
Yeah. I think that that's probably the same mentality behind Fearless.
So, what was your 17?
For 17, I have another one that I guess it's a Netflix movie, but it didn't start out as a Netflix movie. This is Animal
Mm-hmm.
Crackers.
Mm-hmm.
That one, I mean, I was interested in this one because I've kind of been following it for several years because I'd heard about this movie and they were having a lot of trouble getting it released.
Yeah.
Like, they made the film ages ago. I think it was originally intended for a 2017 release,
Mm-hmm.
and it kept getting delayed because I think the original distribution company, I don't remember who it was, they dropped it, and then they were trying to find another distribution company and they couldn't find anybody who was willing to actually put the movie out, even though it was already made, which I guess should have been a red flag. But I just was thinking of it as like this little movie that didn't give up, and I thought maybe there was something there, and I was
Yeah.
hoping for the best, and yeah, no, it
Yeah,
wasn't that
that's
great.
my 16th.
Okay. Yeah, it was
Yeah,
all over the place and not, I don't know.
yeah.
I liked the voice acting, but the story was just strange, and I don't know. It just
Yeah.
wasn't that great.
No, exactly. That's why I put mine there too. It was just like I remember checking the time like is this almost over?
I think I
Is
did the same thing.
I was like, if Netflix had its like you can speed it up now, I would have done that to
Mm,
get it over with.
I
Just
think they
sped it up.
have. I think
They
they
have
do
that
have that
now,
as a
but they
feature.
didn't have it when I watched it.
Okay.
And so I would have watched it at like 2 point speed or something because I was like, oh, please. It's still going. What is even the point anymore?
Yeah, it just was. It ended up just being kind of boring. I did
Hmm.
like some of the ideas that they were going for. I
Yeah.
liked the end battle thing,
Yeah.
but as a whole, it didn't gel. It was kind of boring. It way too long.
Yeah. Should
Not
it
good
like a
writing.
probably would have worked better like as a 20-minute
Yeah,
like little short or
yeah,
something.
yeah.
Because I
I
don't think anything would be taken away if you shut it.
no. I think the main thing that I was thinking when I finished was like this could have been good if it had gone through a couple of rewrites.
Hmm.
Just trim some of this stuff because there was a bunch of like side stories that kind of felt like they weren't going anywhere. And I
Yeah.
think they tried to make everything come together in the end, and it just still felt like a bunch of different stories that didn't really fit and didn't need to be there.
Yeah. Everything kind of was pointless.
Hmm. After Animal Crackers, since you said that was also your next one,
Hmm.
the next one that I have, number 15, is Scoob.
Same.
uh,
Yes, Scoob.
this one I didn't really have that high hopes for because I'd heard a bunch of reviews for it, and
Yeah.
I've never been that big of a Scooby Doo fan anyway. I remember liking it when I was really little,
Hmm.
but then this is, I mean, this is kind of the point of Scooby Doo. But as I got older, I was like, none of these villains are ever actually the villains they say they are. There's just some guy in a mask, and I wanted it to be like an actual
I want a
monster.
real ghost.
Yeah, so I kind of just didn't really like Scooby Doo after a certain point in my childhood,
Hmm.
and I've never really gotten back into it. So maybe there's some people who like this, but I don't think I read one fully positive review.
Yeah.
Now, even the Scooby Doo fans weren't like that into it because they, I mean, it wasn't that much of a Scooby Doo film, anyways. It was like they were pitching some sort of Avengers style team up movie with a bunch of characters we didn't even know.
Yes.
So, yeah, nothing really came together for this one. I wasn't a fan.
Yeah. Like, the main issue is I didn't connect with any of the characters, so I didn't
Hmm.
care about any of the characters, so I didn't care what was happening in the movie. So I was just sitting there, and I was like, "Oh great, they're playing another pop song. Please stop! Why are there so many pop songs?" It's just like one pop song would start, and then another one, and then another one, and another one. I'm like, I like music, but please.
Yeah,
Um. Also, Simon Corwell.
Simon
Holy
Cowell.
cow! Thank you.
Yeah. Oh,
Holy cow, he's like creepy in that movie. I was like, no, keep that. That's
it's
like
like
if Polar Express jumped into this movie and you're like, okay, it's old, I can excuse it. This isn't old. This is just terrifying, and don't put it next to these extremely cartoony characters.
and also it was such a pointless cameo because it felt like they were going like, see, we're hip and cool, we know
Yeah.
who's popular with the youths, and like the youths are probably thinking, who is this old guy? I don't know
I'm
him.
thinking, who is this old guy? I don't know. Maybe I feel like I've seen him before, but he's not like someone I recognize. And I'm like, okay. Um,
Yeah, I mean, I know him as like the host of American Idol, like the one that everybody doesn't like. They hate him. They love
okay.
to
Yeah,
hate.
okay. Yes, I knew I've seen him before.
But I
That's
never
where I've
even
seen
really watched
No,
American
I
Idol. I
don't
just
watch
knew
that
him
either. But yeah,
from
there we
that.
go. Yeah. So that's who he was. I was like, I've seen him. I just his creepy face. I can't look away. It might jump out of my screen or something. I don't know. It's horrifying.
Yeah, it was just the most pointless cameo. And then they brought him back at the end too, which was
Yeah,
so
it's like,
dumb. I was like, why?
well, they spent a lot of time on modeling that perfect face. Like, please, I spent 6 months of my life on this. Please, just put it
Gaze at
in
his
one,
beauty.
put it in one more time.
One other thing that I thought was really weird, and maybe it's just me misremembering the old show, but Scooby Doo, was he as articulate in the old cartoons as he is in this movie? Because it felt weird to have him speaking in like full sentences, and it just felt wrong to me. I don't know.
Yeah, like I full disclosure, the only Scooby Doo things I've really seen is I watched the live action movie in theaters as a child. That's it. So I have no like Scooby Doo history. So like, but I always thought Scooby Doo didn't talk very much.
Hmm.
He just like would say small broken sentences,
Yeah, that's
and it
what
was
how I
kind of like,
remembered it.
and like he's kind of like Rocket and Groot, where Shaggy would kind of like speak
Yeah.
for Scooby, but well,
Yeah,
also
no, it was
a
he,
little rant. Okay, for that very beginning part with the police officer, you would not call him Mr. Doobie Doo because Doobie was his middle name. You do not address people by their middle name. You should have just called him Mr. Doo. I know that sounds stupid, but you would have called him or Mr.
that whole scene
Scooby
was
Doo.
stupid. That whole scene was
It
so
was so
dumb.
stupid, but I don't know why it really annoyed me that he called him Mr. Doobie Doo. And I'm like, get your act together, you stupid little animated police officer. That's not how it works.
Yeah. There was just so much dumb stuff in this
Yeah.
movie.
It still had that kind of this is a movie for kids, but like
Yeah.
remember Scooby-Doo when you were a kid? Because we don't, I guess. And that's why we made this unfaithful adaptation, I guess.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess it wasn't for me because I
Yeah.
didn't enjoy it.
I feel like if I was a kid, I might enjoy it a bit more because I'd just be like, yeah, it's animated. Go. I don't care about story as much. But also, I wouldn't,
Maybe.
I still don't think I'd like it like as much as other movie. I'd like watch it and I'd be like, that's fine. But I'd rather watch like Tarzan or something.
Yeah. Okay, moving on to the next one. For
I'm
number
finally getting out of my like I was groaning while watching these movies. I'm out of that now. I enjoyed most of the other movies that I have on
Okay.
here.
Yeah, my next one, I'm sort of in the middle between like I half enjoyed, half did not. This is Children of the Sea.
Uh-huh.
This is an anime,
Yeah.
and this was a beautiful movie,
Oh yeah.
but I was so bored. And I did not understand half of the stuff they were talking about. It was like some sort of pseudo scientific mumbo jumbo, and my eyes glazed over. I don't know how many times. I was just so bored. Like the
Yeah.
only reason that this is like any redeeming value is just it was really
It was
gorgeous.
yeah. Well, I was like, good first step. Now think of story and
Yes.
actually have me understand it, and then I will
Yeah.
buy that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to like this, and
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't. The only reason I'd watch it again is for the visuals and the
Yeah.
music. The music was good too.
Yeah, the music was
Background
good.
music.
I really love the visuals. That's actually mine. Next one as well. I forgot to say.
Oh my goodness! How much are we gonna like match up here? It's 3 in a row.
Yes, we have to connect 4. That's so funny. Yes, the animation, I really like the character design. My favorite scene is the part where they're all cooking because just the food, I was just
Anime
like
food.
anime food. I was just like watching and it was like right before dinner. I'm like, all right, pause. I need to go get myself some dinner. Cuz I was hungry and I'm like, I want that, but I'll settle for spaghetti because that's all I have. I don't have crab. Yeah, that was it was a great visual movie, but
Yes.
I didn't understand it.
Yeah, no. I was lost for most of it.
I was like, I don't know what you guys are talking about, but I'll just kind of drone you guys out and just watch because.
Well, my next one is one that before I watched them, I was kind of confusing the two because I didn't know which was which. I remembered the 2 trailers and I wasn't sure which one I was thinking of. The next one is called Ride Your Wave.
Uh-huh.
And this is another ocean anime film.
Ocean. Yes.
And this is about this girl and this guy. At first, it seems like it's about this guy. And it's following him as he's becoming a firefighter and he's falling for this girl. But then he dies. And the rest of the movie is about this girl trying to come to terms with that. And seeing him everywhere in water. And it was a decent movie. I enjoyed it. But I don't know how eager I'd be to watch it again. It was just fine. I liked it well enough.
Yeah. I'll talk a little more about my thoughts on that because it's a little bit higher.
Okay.
But my next one is a movie I really wanted to like more, but it unfortunately was a little disappointing. It was Shaun the Sheep 2.
Really? Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll talk more about it much later in the podcast.
Yeah, yeah. The main issue I had, I really liked it. I want to say this is like after Children of the Sea, which I didn't understand, so I couldn't really say I enjoyed it much. I did really enjoy it. My main issue is that it felt a little bit too long, in my opinion, because you would cut from Sean to the farmer, and I felt like just the farmer got too many scenes. Like, he wasn't really doing much, but I did like the alien. She was adorable, and I liked the hazmat suit men. They were my favorite. They were so funny. I like when they were like, "We got an alien!" Hit the button, yay! And then they had to hit it, and because they lost the alien, and they were like crying and oh god. Yeah, but I wanted to like it more. But I also watched it when I was really tired, so I might be a little bit more biased. But I was like, I'm tired, please stop. But I like I wanted it to be as good as the first one. I felt like it didn't quite have the same charm as the first one, so it kind of disappointed me.
Okay. Yeah, well, I'll talk more about it.
Yeah,
much later.
I'd like to hear an opinion of someone who thought more highly of it than me.
Okay. Well, my next one is where I have the Willoughbys. This is another one I thought it was fine, but I don't know how eager I'd be to revisit it. I liked it well enough. I wanted to like it more because I was expecting it to be, I guess, maybe more in the vein of A Series of Unfortunate Events or Roald Dahl book. And in some ways it was, but it just didn't have the same charm to me anyway.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people did enjoy it a lot. It just felt like it didn't have enough of what I wanted. And I can't thoroughly explain what I wanted, but I wanted more of like Roald Dahl or Series of Unfortunate Events. And also the music, I liked the music, but it didn't feel like the music went far enough to make it as charming as it needed to be. It was just like one big song that
I forgot memorable. About that.
And not even that memorable. So yeah. In the end it was,
there's music in that movie. I forgot.
Yeah. In the end it was just fine.
Yeah. My next movie, number 12, is Ride Your Wave. Okay. Mainly because I thought the animation was really good. I like Science Saru. They're a good animation company. I will definitely say that out of the ones I've seen that Science Saru has made, this is my least favorite. But okay. I thought the water animation was really good. I think that's honestly what really pushed it up there. I'm a very huge fan of water and water animation. So I'm a little biased, I guess. But I really liked it. But I agree that the story was a little subpar and sometimes. I also thought there was a little too many montages. I was like, maybe that's a thing in romance movies. I don't watch romance movies. But it was just like, there was like, oh, another montage. This is like the fourth one.
You could be right. Yeah.
It was just, I felt like they could have showcased things more than they just they montaged over the falling in love, then they montaged over him being in the water, and then they montaged over her getting over it. So I was like, what do we have left? It's all a montage. We didn't watch her move on. We montaged through moving on. We didn't watch them fall in love. We montaged through them falling in love.
Maybe that's why I didn't connect with it as much as I would have liked.
I did like, though, I watched it in Japanese because for whatever reason, my version had subtitles stuck on it. I couldn't get them off. So I was like, and they were off because obviously when you're speaking and when you're writing, you can word them differently. And I was like, I can't do that. So I watched in Japanese. But the song the couple sang together during one of the montages was very cute. It was very cute. They were giggling and singing together. I thought that was sweet.
The subtitles, now that you mentioned that, the subtitles were on mine. I didn't bother turning them off, but I didn't remember turning the subtitles on, so maybe it was just a thing. I watched it on HBO Max.
Yeah, same. But they were stuck on the screen. And I was like, oh.
Okay.
And I have sometimes I can have visual issues when I'm hearing something different than I'm reading.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah, because
I had to
the
shut
subtitles.
It off.
Yeah, the subtitles didn't always match what they were saying.
Yeah, so
I did watch it in English, but the subtitles weren't always the same.
my brain was just like, that's not the same. I can't process what they're saying. So I was like, all right, just, you know what? If I can't understand them, it'd be easier.
It might have been. Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay, for my number 11, this is probably my most disappointing film of the year.
Mhm.
I wanted to love this movie. I thought I was going to love this movie, and in the end, it was only just fine. This is Over the Moon.
Oh.
This is
Mhm.
another Netflix film, but this is by Glenn Keane, who is like
Mhm.
one of the top tier Disney animators.
Yeah.
Like his directorial debut, the first movie he's ever directed. I really wanted to like this movie. This is about a little girl who grows up listening to the stories. This is in China. So she's growing up listening to the stories of the moon goddess.
Mhm.
And she wants to prove the moon goddess is real. And she ends up building a rocket to go to the moon and find her. And then there's this a whole other subplot with her father getting remarried and she's having to deal with that.
Yeah.
And everything did gel. Like it was a good story and everything worked together. It was decently written. The visuals were great,
Yeah.
but it just wasn't the amazing film that I thought it was going to be. And that's
Mhm.
why I ended up feeling kind of disappointed about it. I think my expectations were just too high. That's the whole thing.
Yeah.
Like I I mean I liked it. I probably would watch it again, but I just didn't
Mhm.
love it like I thought I was going to.
Yeah. I have that one higher on my list.
Okay. What do you have in number 11?
Number 11 is the Sonic the Hedgehog movie.
Okay, I've got that at number 10, so that would be my next one to talk about.
Yeah.
So we could just talk about it.
Okay. So, fun of oh my goodness, this movie. Like that first image and that first trailer of Sonic the Hedgehog. Like I almost wanted it to be that because I wanted to see that trash fire of a movie. But like, can you imagine a whole movie with that Sonic? Like, I was
That
like,
would be
yes,
horrifying.
release the creepy Sonic edition. It's like the Snyder cut. Release the Sonic cut, please. I need that.
Yes. Now I want this,
Like
even though
as
it's
an
like
extra on the
nightmare
DVD or
fuel.
something. It's like so horrible, but I want it. But in all honesty, I am glad they changed Sonic. I
Yeah, me
thought
too.
he was very well done. I liked the different like design changes from his original design. I'm not a like Sonic purist, I guess. I don't know.
Hmm.
But the main issue I have is two things. Why was it in the real world, people? Why couldn't it just be an animated movie? What's
Yeah.
with this trope? I hate it. I don't like this trope. It's not. I don't like it. I'm fine with animated live action movies, but why do we have to take the cartoon character and put him in the real world? Is their world not interesting enough? I don't know. Also, so I don't like that. So it was inherently already doomed to fail for me. But another thing is, I am not a Jim Carrey fan.
Mm.
He has terrified me as a child. And so it's not really his fault, but I have like this connection of him just being over the toply and just disturbing me. So, and then I felt like they thought he was funny, but I didn't think he was funny. And I was like, all right, let's move on,
Hmm.
please. The dancing scene, I was like, what? Why is it still going? But I thought it was, enjoyable for what it was.
Hmm.
Maybe here, how about next movie Sonic falls back into the animated world, and then he never goes back to the real world.
I'm kind of
I,
hoping that that's what they'll do because they had that shot of like tails at
yeah,
the end.
I kind of got too excited for that. I'm like, I was a fan of Sonic when I was like the primo age to love Sonic, when you're like
Hmm.
13 and you're just like, yes, he's the coolest thing in the world. And then you grow up and you're like, why did I like Sonic so much? But I am looking forward to the sequel.
Hmm.
Please put next director. I don't know. Put like the ultimate life form, Shadow the Hedgehog, please, because I want Shadow the Hedgehog in his Heelys in the real world because yes, please.
So for me, I liked Sonic a lot more than I thought I was going to, which maybe that's why I have it above Over the Moon. They're kind of on par for me,
Mm-hmm.
but I thought it was going to be a dumpster fire, and
Yeah,
I ended up enjoying myself.
It was quite surprising,
Yeah.
actually. I was like, oh, it's not garbage. Sorry,
Yeah.
movie.
I
Judged you.
I guess probably just because of that first trailer, I was like, if they thought that this was acceptable, then they probably have a really bad script to go along with this.
Yeah.
And upgrading the animation is not going to upgrade the script.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess that's why I just assumed it was going to be a terrible movie. So I was pleasantly surprised to find out that it wasn't. And
Also, another mini rant about the beginning. That owl did not fit. Like, it looked like a completely different animated owl. They like bought it on an asset store and popped it in the movie. I was like, that doesn't look anything like the other animals. And why is she a normal owl?
is the owl from the video game?
No, not that I know of. I mean, I'm not deep into the lore of Sonic.
Yeah,
but,
me neither. Like the reason that I like Sonic is I've never played a Sonic video game, but when I was a kid in the 90s, there was this Sonic the Hedgehog cartoon that I was obsessed with. I thought it was the greatest show.
Yeah.
And that's why I like Sonic, is because I remember watching that show so much as a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never played the video game, so I'm not
not
Sonic lore or
from
whatever.
my lore of Sonic. There is no owl like that, and I don't understand why she looks like a normal owl when you have like Sonic who barely looks like a hedgehog and the echidnas that don't even look like echidnas. By the way, bring the echidnas back. I like them. I like the echidnas in the trees. I was kind of disappointed they didn't show back up.
Yeah. Overall, it was kind of a weird movie, but I did enjoy myself. So
yeah,
and I actually did enjoy Jim Carrey. I thought he was a little cringy at some points, but he was like Jim Carrey from the 90s, which is like peak Jim Carrey. So I did enjoy seeing him back in form. I know a lot of people loathe the Grinch Jim Carrey. And we grew up loving that. So this is kind of like in that same vein.
Yeah. Yeah. He scared me when I was a kid. So I enjoyed him for what he was. He doesn't scare me anymore. I have outgrown my fear. But
well, if he scared you, then maybe he's a good person to play a villain.
Yeah, maybe.
He'll just terrify today's children. Okay, so that was my number 10. What's your number 10?
My number 10 was A Whisker Away.
Okay, that one I didn't get to.
Yeah. So the premise is, I guess I should run over the premise. The premise is that there's this girl and she's going through a lot of family issues and she ends up getting this mask which can turn her into a cat. And there's this boy she likes in school, and as a cat she can go and visit him. But when she's a human, she tries to befriend him, but he's like, Mr. I'm closed, don't talk to me, so you're so weird. So she talks to him in cat form, and then it's like a romance movie. My main issue with it was that it was a romance movie, because there's just some weird scenes where she's a cat and he's like petting her and she like looks at the camera like, ooh, and I'm like, oh no, stop, you guys are in middle school, this is weird. Like, it just made it weird. I was like, you could have made this like sweet little movie, but then you're making it weird with him like stroking her. Don't make it weird. But it had like a subpar Studio Ghibli feeling. It was, it was enjoyable. It surprised me. I thought it was going to be weirder than it was. But
Mm-hmm.
it was kind of cute at times, and I kind of liked the weird cat folklore thing. So like there's like Cat World that floats above Japan or something. They didn't really explain it, but I was like, that's kind of weird and fun. So
Okay. Yeah, I didn't get to see that one. That one I put like lower on my must-watch list because I'd heard weird reviews talking about some of the things you're talking about. Like it was
yeah,
kind of weird, the
yeah.
relationship. So
Like if
it's
it was just
like,
friendship, it would have been better. Like if they weren't in love and he didn't stroke her and she looked at the camera like wow, and you're like, no, please
yeah,
stop, abort, weird.
yeah. So that one I did not make a high
Yeah,
priority, so I never got to it.
yeah, that was low priority too, but it was fine. Like when it wasn't being weird, it was like a fun little movie. So and it wasn't too long. So
Hmm. Okay, for my number 9, I have Weathering with You.
okay,
And this is one, it was like slightly disappointing for me because I thought this was going to be higher because I loved Your Name. This is the same filmmaker who made Your Name,
hmm,
Makoto Shinkai. And his movies look amazing. And I haven't watched all of his movies, but from the ones that I've seen, he can be kind of hit or miss.
hmm,
And I guess I was just hoping that this was going to be another Your Name because that was an
yeah,
amazing movie. I loved Your Name a lot. It was so good, so well written. The plot twists all made sense. It was great.
yeah,
And this wasn't, but it wasn't bad. So in the end, it ended up being just fine.
yeah,
For people who want to know the plot who haven't seen it, this is about this kid who has run away from home and he ends up in Tokyo and befriends this girl who can control the weather. And then they have adventures slash misadventures trying to like monetize her power and then falling in like getting in trouble through this and then her almost dying at one point, and it was good, but it wasn't amazing.
yeah.
It looked amazing, like
Yes.
animation was amazing,
I
but
was like, oh.
yeah, but in the end, it ended up being just fine.
hmm. Uh, full disclosure, I have not seen Your Name.
You haven't? Oh, it's so good. You
Everyone's
should.
like, it's so good. You should be. I gotta watch it. And I'm just like, I know, but I always don't get to it. And I'm just like, I need to watch it. It's like sitting there, and it's just like there, and you're like, oh yeah, you're there. I haven't. I feel like I have watched it, but like then I'm like, oh wait, no, I haven't yet.
Yeah, it's
uh,
really good.
yeah.
You should totally watch it.
Oh, real quick though, with Weathering with You, there was like two scenes where it felt like cameos. Like it was like, look, that's the Your Name people. Were they in the movie? Because like with the grandma, like was that the main character of Your Name, who walked in and he had like the watermelon and he had like a heart to heart with the main character?
I don't know.
Because I think it might have been him. It felt very like the movie was like, look, it's him, and I'm like, is that someone from one of his other movies? Because I don't know.
Maybe I wasn't paying enough attention because there were a couple points where I got a little bit bored and I was doing two
Uh huh.
things at once. Maybe I missed
Yeah,
something.
maybe. I was just like, I feel like that character looks slightly familiar, but I don't know. I
Hmm,
think it might have been him. Um,
it could be. I'd
maybe.
have to rewatch it.
Yeah. So my number 9 is the We Bear Bears movie.
Oh, I never got to that one. I wanted to see that. I
Oh,
love We Bear Bears, the
I love,
series,
yes.
but I felt like I couldn't watch the movie because I haven't finished the series because I just haven't gotten to the rest of the series yet. So I
Yeah.
put off watching the movie and I never ended up watching it.
Yeah, the good thing about this movie is like the We Bear Bears episodes, they're not really in um order. There's not really an order, so
Yeah.
you can just watch it. There's like no spoilers, but you know, obviously finish the series too. I also love We Bare Bears. It is one of my favorite animated television shows of all time, honestly. It's so sweet. I love it.
Yeah.
They're so funny. And this movie was just like the perfect We Bare Bears movie. It was just like a long episode, but it didn't feel long.
Okay.
And it was really good. You got baby bears in there, which I love
the
baby bears.
bears.
I love them so much. They're so great. You got songs, you've got crazy hijinks, you've got Ice Bear, who I love. Ice Bear. He's so funny. I love his axe. It's just so funny. It was so funny. It was so good. There's not really any cons with it, it's just a good We Bears movie. I guess maybe the only issue, like, I felt like it could have already been a topic they covered in the TV show. So it's like they revisited a already thing that they already covered, but I don't care, really. I got more We Bare Bears, and it was fun to watch it, like, with a movie budget. I mean, a TV movie budget, but so it was funny having, like, whoa, dynamic angles. They're not just in their living room all day. So that was fun.
Yeah,
I recommend it. I recommend it. Especially if you like We Bare Bears, because it's like the perfect. It's the perfect movie. Like, I was worried that they would go like, We Bare Bears go to Hollywood, which they did, but like they would do it like, it's a movie tie-in to a TV show, but it was perfect. So
that's good. Yeah, I'm glad to hear it. Yeah, I didn't get to see that one, but that was my fault because I was putting off watching it. I will see that one eventually, definitely. Okay, number 8. This is where I have Pixar's Onward.
Okay.
And this one is another one that is fine. It wasn't like, I mean, it's Pixar, so it's a good movie, but it wasn't like top tier Pixar for me. It was just like, middle of the road. But with Pixar, it's like even their worst movies are still good movies. So,
except maybe Good Dinosaur. That was just kind of boring.
Maybe a little bit, but I'd still watch it because it has great animation. Yeah.
Just a little bit.
So Onward is about. I mean, Onward takes place in a world separate from ours. It's like an alternate universe of the 80s, but like everything is like fantasy land.
Yeah.
So the two main characters are elves, and it's about these two elf brothers who their father died years and years and years ago, and they're given the chance through magic to have one more day with him. And then the spell goes wrong, and he ends up as just a pair of legs. And then they're trying throughout this day, trying to find a way to finish the spell to get their dad back so that they can see him. And I will say, it as the movie went on, it got better and better and better. And then the end was like so good.
Top tier.
But since it started out kind of slow, that's kind of what keeps it from being like peak Pixar for me. So, I mean, it's a good movie. I definitely recommend it.
Yeah.
But just don't go into it expecting like Inside Out or WALL-E. So.
It's up quality. No. I threw out up because Onward fills its place now. No.
Well, I guess it depends on who you talk to because everybody has their own ranking. Some people absolutely love Up, and I haven't seen it in so long. I need to rewatch Up to see how I feel about it. But
right, it's like I remember really enjoying Up, but like it's been so long that I'm like,
yeah,
like, and then I remember not enjoying the end. But like, would I enjoy the end? Like,
yeah, I don't know.
Did I not give it? Yeah,
everybody remembers the beginning of Up.
Yeah.
And I remember some things in the middle, but I remember at some point it goes off the rails, not in like a horrible way, but like from what it was.
Dogs are driving little airplanes, and you're like, I'm kind of here for that, honestly. That's my kind of absurdity. I love that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I derailed the conversation there.
No,
So my number 8 is Weathering with You. Mainly just because of the animation. It was stunning. I also like the music.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah,
really good.
definitely.
Again, a little too many montages for my liking. But again, like maybe it is just a romance thing. I don't watch romance
It could be.
movies.
And now that you're mentioning montages, I'm thinking of Your Name. There were a few montages in there too. But their montages, like they had a point. It was like showing, I don't want to spoil too much about Your
Yeah.
Name, but it's like showing the different characters and how they're coping with their each of their situations.
Uh-huh. Yeah, so a little too many montages for my liking. Not as many as Ride Your Wave, but I liked the animation. I also really liked Leaf Pace's character, the older guy. And I was like, his
Okay, yeah.
story's more interesting. Like, can we make a movie about a character like that? That'd be kind of fun.
I didn't realize that was Lee Pace at
Yeah,
first
it's.
until I
I was
looked him
like,
up.
it was just like, I was just like in the credits, and I'm just like, what? What? You afforded? I don't know how much Lee Pace costs, but like, I don't
He
know.
seems
Like
like he'd be
for an
expensive.
animated movie, especially an anime movie, I was like, that's impressive.
For number 7, I have My Hero Academia Heroes Rising.
Hmm.
This is the second My Hero Academia movie.
I didn't get to
And
that.
I have not seen My Hero Academia, the series. Like, I have no knowledge of the series. The only
Uh-huh.
reason that I watched this one was because I had seen the first movie, because
Hmm.
Rachel Wagner had told me that the first movie, you didn't really need to have seen the
Yeah.
anime to enjoy it. And she was right. It was
Hmm.
good by itself.
Hmm.
And criticisms that I've heard from people about these two movies is that they didn't tie into the series enough.
Yeah,
So
that's what a
if you
lot. Yeah.
if you're not a fan of the series or you've never seen the series, check these out because they don't tie into the series enough for the fans,
And you
and
could
you can
just see
totally
a
watch them
bunch
on
of
your own.
bonkers superhero powers that you don't get
Yes,
in Avengers.
that's like the main thing that I really like about these. Is like they're so creative. Like
Yeah.
there's so much that happens in these movies that you never see in any other superhero movie.
Right.
It's just like this their own unique world.
It's also like you have three people with fire powers, but they all use them differently. Good on you. Like
Yeah,
Marvel's just like, we have three people with fire powers and they all just shoot it out of their hands because and you're like, okay, but all right, I'm sorry. Marvel people are gonna come after me now. I'm sorry. Human Torch is fine. The other people who use fire are also fine. I can't think of anyone.
yeah. So I enjoy how creative they are with everything. And like the final action scenes, the big battles, they're
Hmm.
just amazing to watch.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like the My Hero Academia movies. I probably should watch the series at some point, but
I
not
need to
having seen
watch
it, they're
I need
fine.
to
They're great.
watch the new one because it looks really good. That's like one of my favorite animation companies does it, and
Mm,
they always knock it out of the park when they actually get a good budget. So
yeah, it was a great movie. That was one of the last movies that I saw in the theater before
oh,
everything was shutting down.
it probably looked awesome in a theater.
Yes, yeah, it's definitely one that if you can see it on a big screen, it's worth it.
So my number 7 is a movie that I really wanted to like, but it honestly kind of disappointed me, and I feel bad. It's Soul.
Really?
Yeah, I
Oh my
really was like,
goodness.
I had no number on this one for the long time because I really wanted to put it higher. But the more I thought about it, the more I put it, like, decided to put it low because I really loved a ton of parts. It's like almost top tier. Like, it was like top tier stuff. Like, I would put like parts of the movie as number like 1. But I didn't like, so I went in the movie watching the trailers. I'm like, oh, it's about a guy who needs to, like, explore life and stuff, or that's what the movie's about. And then half the movie was about him as a cat, and I'm like, oh, I okay. Like, it was funny, but also like I was like, okay, when are we going to get back into what I was told it was about? And it's like, no, that's the movie. And I'm like, oh. it just didn't work for me really, and it kind of disappointed me because I was like, I loved so many scenes
Yeah.
but then we would go back into it. Haha, he's a cat. Ain't that funny? And I'm like, no. So it really made me sad that it is that low, and everyone's gonna be like, oh, you put Soul so low. And I'm like, sorry. I liked it a lot. And there were some scenes, like, I really loved the barber scene. I really loved that scene. I really loved all the real world scenes.
Mm-hmm.
But then they reminded me that the main character is a cat. And that I was like, oh yeah. I don't know. It just didn't. I don't know. I just remember. I was like, oh, a little disappointed in that.
Yeah, I get that. It's much higher on my list, but
yeah, I'm sure.
I get the criticisms.
Yeah, I felt bad. I was like, no, I wanted to love you.
For my number 6, I have Trolls World Tour.
I didn't make that movie. That was like, I won't. I was like, that's my low movie because I did not like the first one. So
I didn't really either. But I kind of loved this movie.
It's definitely an interesting premise.
It's so much better than the first one. It's bizarre. But they took everything that worked about the first one, got rid of the stuff that didn't work, and just took it up a notch. Like, this is by no means a perfect movie, but I enjoyed it so much. The music is great. I really like the animation and the character designs and, like, the background designs. Like, everything looks like this crafty, needle-felted world. It looks really good. And I really enjoyed the movie far, far more than I ever thought possible. Because normally I would think that this is going to be, like, bottom of the barrel, like, lowest movie. Yeah. I enjoyed it so much more than I expected to.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I've watched it multiple times. And I don't do that with many movies.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's just a lot of fun. Even though you didn't like the first one, I would still say give this one a chance. It's
I wanted to watch it because the animation looked like it really jumped up a notch. But it was not only was it kind of lower on my list, I had a hard time getting a hold of it. So
I watched it because I think I was sent a review copy from, like, because I write for the Rotoscopers. So I got sent a review copy, and that's how I eventually saw it. Because I didn't pay for it, because it was one of those movies where it was, this is actually the one that's, like, started all the theatrical chaos, because they wanted to release this movie despite the theaters not being open. It ended up getting released on digital only.
Yeah.
And so I did not see it then, because, like, I'm not going to pay $20 to see this movie that I know I'm going to hate. So I didn't see it until like,
take my money.
I got it free because I got sent a review copy. So then I was like, this is so much better than I thought it would be, and I'm glad I was able to see it for free to show me that it was actually worth the watching.
Money. Yeah, that's awesome. My number 6 is Pokemon Mewtwo Strikes Back.
Okay, I didn't see that one.
I watched that one before we did all this. Actually, it was like one of the only ones, because I was so curious how they would try to capture the traditional Pokemon style in 3D, and I thought they did a pretty good job. They were all like, I liked looking at Fuzzy Pikachu, and like, I'm a big fan of Pokemon designs and all that. I haven't played many games or watched much of the show, but like, I was just like, I just like looking at the Pokemon. I'm just like, I like all the Pokemon. They're so adorable, and they say their names, and it's cute. But yeah, the animation was pretty good, and I don't have the original movie to like compare it because it's a remake of the original Mewtwo movie. I've seen scenes, and they've definitely improved some of the scenes. Like, there's a scene, and Mewtwo's waving his hand, and it just goes on and on and on, and you're like, thank goodness they cropped that short in this new movie. But the little Pokemon were adorable. The animation on the characters really good. I really liked watching. Like, you can watch the background and just watch like the characters in the background, and they're still like doing things. They're not just like, we're dead now because we're not the main focus. So that was fun. I there was lighting issues. Like, sometimes it was too dark, and like I couldn't see what was going on. I was like, what's going on? Turn up the brightness. I can't see. And the plot was a little confusing because they expect you to watch the first movie. And my sister had to explain something because they, like, if you miss one sentence, one part of the plot doesn't make sense. And I missed that one sentence, and my sister's like, all right, I've watched the original, so let me tell you what happened. And I was like, oh, it all makes sense now. Oh, and Mew is peak adorable. I love watching Mew with Bubbles sitting on a windmill and then sliding off and then sitting back on it and sliding off. It had little cute creatures, and that's all I needed, I guess.
Yeah, I've never seen the original, so I wasn't as curious about this one. And I like Pokemon well enough. I've played several of the games. I think it's fun, but I'm not like a Pokemon super
Pokemon
fan.
Master.
Yeah, so it wasn't one that was like high on my list. Plus, I kept hearing some bad reviews, so then I wasn't as interested. So
those are salty Pokemon fans. It's like, how dare you change it? I'm like, I got to see Pikachu hug Ash, and then Ash hug Bulbasaur. So you're missing out.
I might check that one out eventually. But yeah, I never got a chance to see that one.
I only put it above Soul because Soul disappointed me. Like, I wouldn't say expect a wonderful, profound movie, but if you like Pokemon and you like watching Pokemon, then that's for you. I guess that's all I needed.
For number 5, I have The Croods: A New Age.
Same.
Okay.
That movie surprised me. I liked the first one pretty well. It wasn't like amazing, but I was like, oh, a sequel. How could you make a sequel? Like, why would you make a sequel? It was like fine, but like, what are you gonna do? And I don't really like DreamWorks sequels that often because they fall in a lot of sequel traps. And I was like, all right, let's watch this movie. But you like insisted. You're like, no, actually watch it, you know? And so I'm like, all right. So, and it surprised me. I was like, wait, this is not bad.
Yeah.
It's like funny.
Yeah, I actually, I feel like I'm one of the few people who loved the original Croods. Like, when we left the theater, I was like, I could go back in there and watch this again immediately. And I don't feel like that about movies. Like, when I leave the theater, I'm usually ready to go home. But then it's like,
it's like, that's enough.
I could watch it again immediately and be just as and enjoy it just as much.
Yeah.
So,
I liked the first one a lot.
So I've been looking forward to this one for years. And then, because this has been one of those movies that's been in production for years. It got canceled a few years ago.
Yeah, and rewritten so many times. And
yeah. So it got canceled, and I thought it was done. I thought I'd never see a sequel.
You will never
and then it was uncanceled.
Yay!
So I've been looking forward to seeing this for a long time, and I'm glad to say that it did not disappoint. I thought it was great. I thought it was so much fun. I loved the big ending scene with all the ladies and Granny.
Thunder Sisters!
It was ridiculous in the best possible
I was like,
way.
this is like the most ridiculous, like epic. Yeah, my level of absurdity. Like, I guess all my best movies are like, is it absurd enough for me? I'm like, yes, it's my absurdity.
Yeah. Yeah, I loved it. I love the creativity in the Croods films because it's like they're cavemen, but they don't live on like Earth, because
Yeah.
all of these creatures and even the plants are like all these made up things. They're like hybrids of all
Yeah.
these other animals. I love
Yeah.
the creativity in these
Hmm.
movies. It's so much fun.
Yeah, like who thought of watermelon butterflies? Because I want those in real life.
And the woolly mammoth cow hybrids.
Yeah. Moomis. Yeah, I want a moomis.
Yeah, I love them. They're
Yeah,
great.
and I also thought the Bettermans were gonna be a little bit more annoying, but they weren't annoying. I thought they were funny. So
Yeah, I liked everybody. I liked the new characters, and that's hard to do. Like build a sequel
hmm
with new characters in addition to the old ones, and have
yeah,
you like the new characters too.
yeah,
But yeah, I liked them all.
yeah. I think they balanced out all the characters well too, because a lot
Yeah.
of times sequels will just be like, oh, we just kind of don't know what to do with this character anymore, so we'll just set them aside.
Hmm.
But I thought all the characters. I liked the grandma,
I love the
funnily
grandma.
enough. I was like, I like this. Like my favorite though. I know it happens really early on, but they think they're at the end of the world, and she's like, "I'm glad it's you, Chunky," and she just climbs in the thing's mouth. I was like,
I
ah,
love her.
this is so funny. That's
Yeah,
so
she's
funny.
great. She's great. Okay, number 4. Phineas and Ferb the movie Candace Against the Universe.
I didn't get that one.
Okay. Well, you should.
I
It
should.
is if you're a fan of Phineas and Ferb, if you like the original series, you
Hmm.
need to see this movie. It is so good. It is like everything that's great about the series amped up to
Uh-huh.
11. The music is great. I love the fact that they have Phineas and Ferb teaming up with Dr. Doofenshmirtz to save
Yes.
their sister and his daughter. It's just
Uh-huh.
ridiculous. Another movie that's ridiculous in the best possible way, but that's to be expected from Phineas and Ferb. It's
Hmm.
just so much fun. I loved this movie so much. It's just great.
I've seen the Doofenshmirtz song where he's singing about, oh, what was he singing about? Adulting. I saw the
Oh,
adulting song. That's so funny. It's just like I was just
yeah,
like, I know people like that.
yeah. The songwriting was great in the series, and it's still great here. I'm so
Yeah,
glad that years later they were able to come back and make another movie, because
yeah,
it that show is one of those shows that it doesn't get old.
yeah.
Like you can watch things that you liked years ago, and it's like,
Hmm.
that didn't really age that well. But
Hmm.
Phineas and Ferb is like evergreen.
Yeah,
It's
it's
so
so good.
good.
I think the character designs really lean into that, which I'm not usually a big fan of those like extremely abstract character designs, but they pull it off
Yeah,
so well.
yeah. I agree. I'm not usually a fan of like weird shaped
Like
characters.
what is Phineas's face? Why
Just
are
a
you? He's
triangle.
a triangle. You're a pea. It's supposed to look like the pea, and I'm just like, why would you do that? But I love it also.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah. My number 4 is Over the Moon.
Okay.
Um, the reason why I put this one up so high was I really liked the music, and I really love stories based off of folktale. And so I really liked that. There were issues. I agree a lot with your issues. Like the story had issues, and
Hmm.
I felt like some of the side characters didn't really need to be there. Like I forget his name, but the little dog thing. It felt
I've
like
read that he was a pangolin, which he did not look
okay,
like a pangolin.
okay, okay. But like he felt like he was just there to be the Olaf character.
Yeah,
You need
yeah,
an Olaf in your movie, right? All right,
yeah.
we have Olaf, and he sings his little song, which his song was sweet, but there wasn't much point to it,
Hmm.
like him. Um, but there was enough absurdity for me. Like I really liked Chunga. She was
Hmm.
a really good character to
Yeah.
me. She was so funny.
One
She
of my
was
favorite scenes is her musical number. The
Yes, that's so good. It's so visually appealing, and just like she's so over the top. I just love her.
Yeah.
And then like even the ping pong, like why are they ping-ponging? I mean, I know why, because China's all about ping pong, but like, it was just so weird. I'm like, that's kind of awesome.
You're making
But,
me want to rewatch it. So maybe if I rewatch it, it would end up higher on my list. I think it ended up so low is because I was just disappointed. But yeah,
yeah.
it was definitely a good movie.
Yeah. Maybe you should go rewatch Over the Moon, and I'll go rewatch Soul, and then we'll be like, let's give it a break.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fun. And then the songs all get stuck in my head. So I'll be humming about mooncakes for an hour. Thanks, movie.
Okay, number 3. This is where I have Farmageddon.
Okay.
Yeah,
So tell me why you like this movie.
I think I just love Aardman.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just such a big Aardman fan. I love their stop motion. I love their character design. I love how they're able to tell a complete story without using any dialogue.
Yes.
That is so hard to do.
I forgot to mention I love that.
Yeah, and they do it so well.
Yeah.
Everything that I loved about the first one, I thought was still here in the second one. Plus, I love science fiction. So the fact that they brought science fiction into this quaint little world, I thought was great. I thought it was so much fun. I liked that they were doing like all these little nods and homages to all these other science fiction
Oh,
films.
I liked it when they were all disguised, and then like a guy who clearly was one of the Doctor Who's comes out and he's like, oh! And he runs away. That was funny. I liked that. I had to pause the movie. I was laughing too hard about that joke. That was funny.
Yeah, I just think it's so clever, so well written, I guess you could say, even though, like I said, there's no dialogue, but they've planned everything so well that everything works and they're able to tell such a full story without dialogue.
Yeah.
And music is great. I love the character designs. It's so good. I love everything about it. That's why it's so high on my list.
Yeah. My number 3 is actually Onward, which I was not expecting that, because I would watch the trailers and I got bombarded by the trailers, and I was like so sick of this movie because I'm like, please stop with the trailer. I'm so sick of hearing put it in O for Onward, because that was in every trailer, and I was just like, I would get the trailer like 15 times a day, and I'm like, please stop. But it actually really surprised me but I have a lot of issues with especially like you would cut to the mom, and I liked the mom, but I felt like cutting to the mom never added anything to the story, that much to the story. Like you would cut to her and nothing would happen, and then you cut back. It felt like they just needed a reason to time skip with the brothers, and so they would pop to the mom and then they would pop back, and so then the brothers are just a little bit farther away. But the thing that mainly stood out to me in this movie is I love family dynamic movies. And I thought the dynamic between the two brothers just reminded me so much of my siblings. And it really was really like good. Like it's one of the best interpretations, I think, of like siblings, or at least how my siblings would act. Because my siblings are annoying. Like those siblings were to each other. And so I thought they really captured that. I also liked how, like, the story felt very, like, the director really took this story from his heart. Like, it felt really like a story someone really had experienced. And I really liked that. Like, you could feel that in the movie. The biggest issue I had was with the mom, and then the curse was very just plot convenience, and it didn't do anything. And I was like, it's just there so that part, I don't want to spoil the ending, but it's just there so that would happen. And I'm just like, and it went down so easily. I was like, wow, Curse, aren't you big and tough? So cool. The showdown was a little disappointing, but I liked the brothers enough that it really I agree, it is very slow and kind of boring at the beginning though, and amplified way better as it went on. But so what's your number 2?
Okay, for number two, my I feel like I have a tie, but
Yeah.
I don't know. Like my top two, I I love so much for completely different reasons.
Yeah.
They're so good in their own way. They're so completely different movies. It
Yeah.
is I don't know how I'm supposed to pick, but I'm just going to arbitrarily pick one so we to move
Mhm.
on to number two. Number two, I have Wolf Walkers.
Yeah. That's not my number two, but
Yeah,
Wolf Walkers
I
is so
kind of
good.
figured knowing your likes, I figured I knew where this was going to land. But I feel like I don't want to pick it as my number two. I wanted to pick it as my number one, but I also have my other one as number one. But whatever.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Well, I watched Wolf Walkers last night, and it immediately just launched right to the top of
Yes.
my favorites. It was so good. This is the story of this girl whose father is a wolf hunter. He's like hired to hunt wolves in Ireland,
Hmm.
and what I didn't really expect was that this takes place during like the British occupation of Ireland, which and then looking it up I realized that happened for a much longer period of time than I was even aware. But that was like the central driving force of this plot was the fact that the British are in Ireland like trying to colonize it.
Hmm.
And I did not expect that, and I thought that that worked really well with the story that they were telling. But it's the story of this little girl who discovers wolf walkers, which are these people who can turn into wolves. Like they go to sleep and then they wake up as wolves. And it's such a unique story, and it's based in Irish folklore, and it's so cool and creative. I loved it so much. I love the music. I love the animation. I loved how,
Hmm.
like, especially, and maybe I'm looking too much into this, but I thought that the wolves and like the wolf walkers, they looked like they were sketchier
Yeah,
than
they
the
were.
other people.
Yeah.
And I thought that if I wasn't just seeing things, I thought that was so creative.
Yeah,
Just
they
having them look
the
wilder.
wolves and stuff are all drawn very sketchy, but then all the people from town are drawn with very straight
Okay,
and clean lines.
so
And
I
then as
wasn't
this,
imagining that.
I loved how throughout the story, Robin started becoming sketchy. The
I
little
need to
girl,
rewatch it so I
the
can
little
see
girl
that.
started turning sketchy. Like
Okay,
I was
that's
like,
really
oh,
cool.
that's so cool. Like no one does that.
Yeah, so that's definitely, even though I'm ranking it at number two, it's still one of my number one movies of the
It's
year. It's so good.
1.5.
Yeah, it's so good. I highly recommend this movie. It's
Yes.
so, so good.
So my second movie is a movie that I watched like half an hour before we started this meeting because
Really?
yeah, I was like a lot of stuff happened. I thought I would get more movies this week, but like a lot of things like suddenly
Hmm.
propped up. So I was like, "Oh no, I still have like 3 movies." So I got like one in the first half of this week and then I like watched one yesterday and then one today. So my second one is the Lupin the Third, the first,
Okay.
because so I love this movie because the animation is just mind-boggling. Like they take the 3D characters, but they capture that cartoony 2D look so well. Like I am so stunned how they got their character faces to like emote that way, or like the
Hmm.
characters would stretch or they would just warp out of proportion but they wouldn't look weird. And I was like, how did they do this? It's just so good. The animation's so snappy at times. Just it blew my mind. Like I was like, oh my gosh, this animation's so good. I will say I understand all the reviews when they're like, oh, it's like Indiana Jones 3 and it's like kind of like cliche and like just a dumb adventure story. And yeah, it kind of is, but like it's fun and the animation's just like so good. It's like the best 3D animation I think that happened last year. And now, technically, it wasn't last year. It came out in 2019 in Japan, but we didn't get it over here until 2020. So I'm not
bunch of the anime that a bunch of the ones on my list, a bunch of the ones we already talked about, they came out in 2019.
Yeah.
But they weren't available to the US until 2020. So that's why.
Yeah. So yeah. So I just, the animation's so good. I can't believe, like, I'm still mind blown. It's been like an hour, 2 hours since I watched it, but I'm still thinking of some of their expressions and just being like, how did you do that? It also felt very, I don't know if you ever watched Hayato's Miyazaki's Castle of Cagliostro Lupin movie.
I haven't seen that was why I haven't seen this one. I didn't put it as a priority because I was not familiar with the character.
Yeah.
I know who he is, but I haven't seen any movies.
Yeah, the Miyazaki is really, it's the best Lupin thing I've ever watched. I know that's not really a unpopular opinion, but it felt very that, and it was really interesting to see how well they captured like that feeling and that just that thing that you don't get in 3D when but they somehow did it, and I was like very blown away. And I hope more movies learn from this one, but American studios won't because they don't watch animation. Because I won't. I'm not going to be salty. I won't get into that. But yeah, so that was.
Yeah, it looked good. It just I didn't make it a priority because I haven't seen any other Lupin.
I actually, like I said, I just didn't get to it, and then I was like, you know what? I've already watched all these other movies. What's one more?
It sounds like it's a good thing that you watched it since it was so high up.
Yeah. All right, what's your number one?
I think people can already guess what my number one is. I have Soul at number one. Soul.
Soul? Huh. I didn't guess. I'll check that off my bingo. I didn't get it.
No, I thought Soul was amazing. It was like my favorite movie of the year before the credits even started rolling at the beginning. Because like that shot where he's falling off of the bridge and he's like falling through the nothingness, but like it's the graphic design of him falling. So it just is so amazing. The music that goes with that, the music probably is what pushed this over the top for me. The music was just so good. Both the music in the Beyond, like the
Great Before,
the Great Before, Beyond. Great Before, Great Beyond, all the places in the afterlife and the before life and the whatever. The music was so good, and then the music in the real world with the jazz and like the improv.
Oh yes, I love jazz.
So good. It's so good. Everything about this movie I thought was amazing. Yes, I get the criticism about the cat, but I thought that they pulled it off to make it not as terrible as like some people feared.
Oh yeah. Oh, like if it was a DreamWorks movie, there would be. It'd be so like crude.
Yeah. No, I thought that this movie was just so good, so creative. I loved all the things, like all the way the before world worked and like the way they were able to get back and forth between the worlds. I thought that was so good and so cool and creative, and I loved this movie. It was so good.
Yeah. I was like watching it, I'm like, oh, that's gonna be like really high up and I'm gonna have it real low. Cause like I was just like, I don't know, maybe I expected too much. I don't know.
Yeah, I think you and I did the same thing with Overrated Soul.
I was like, yes, this will be the perfect movie. And I go in and I'm like, oh, I mean, it's really, really good, but is it perfect? No, it was not what I wanted. Throw it away.
It's not perfect, but it's really good.
No, it is. I agree. See, ranking for me, I am not good at ranking. I have either I did not like it, which was like, well, it was like all below like Children of the Sea, and then like everything else I enjoyed and wasn't like annoyed or I enjoyed. I never had issues watching it really. So like But
Yeah, I'm the same. I don't feel like I'm that great at ranking, but like that's the format that everyone likes.
yeah.
And it is fun to rank things as I go throughout the year, like figure out
hmm
where it's going to go in my list. But then you get into the stuff that's like they're so
But
like
I
Soul and
yeah
Wolfwalkers. They're so
yeah
good. It's so different, and
yeah.
it's so hard to pick a
It's like,
favorite at
how
the
do
end of it.
you compare them? They're
Yeah.
so different. Like, you could say I love the animation in Wolfwalkers, but like it was better than it was in Soul or something. But that's just now personal preference because I will
Yeah.
probably be more lenient to 2D because 2D is my one true love. My number one is Wolfwalkers.
Yes. I
Um,
kind of guessed that.
yeah. Gasp. I have been following this movie for a very long time, and I saw their little preview, and I was so excited, and then I lost track of it, and I was like, "Oh no, is it ever gonna happen? Like, or has it been dropped?" And then they surprised me with the trailer, and then they surprised me again when they're like, "Apple TV only," and I'm like, and that is my only issue with it. That it is Apple TV only because Apple was a jerk to me and would not let me make an account.
I
It
had
kept
trouble getting
it
in
kept
too.
denying me, and I was like, I want to watch your movie. I will pay
Yeah.
money. Please let me in. But it wouldn't let me in, and so unfortunately, I had to
Confession redacted.
like
Confession redacted.
I was like, I feel so bad about doing this. So I hope, please, I will make amends if you release it on DVD or something. I will pay for it. I will buy
Oh,
it.
I'll definitely buy this if
I
they
will
release
buy the
it.
steel book or whatever if you make a steel book. Please make a steel book though, because that'd be awesome. I want, or
Yeah,
just make a really pretty cover or something because this movie was
it
so
deserves
good.
it.
It deserves every like. I want a collector's edition. I will pay maybe not $70. I'll pay $70. I will throw. I won't eat food. No, but it's so good. I loved it so much.
Mhm.
The art style. I love the studio. I've seen their movies and they're so good. Um, I just love the art style. I love their storytelling. I love the animation. I love the music. I loved everything. There was nothing
Yeah.
wrong. The voice talent was great. The colors, the backgrounds. Uh, it was just beautiful. I just couldn't even.
Mhm. Yeah, Cartoon Saloon is such a great studio. I wish that they would could do more, but I'm glad that they put so much work into what they can do.
Yes. I'm
Even though
so
they don't release
excited.
often,
I
it's
am
worth it
so
when they do.
excited because they are going to be adapting one of my childhood favorite books, which is My Father's Dragon.
Yeah,
And I am
that's one of my favorite books as a kid too.
yes,
I'm
it
so
was
excited for
so
that
good, and
movie.
I'm like, oh my goodness, they're gonna make it.
Yes.
Yes, I was
No,
like,
I borrowed that book from the library so many times. It was like I should just own this.
yeah,
I all three of the My Father's Dragon books. I borrowed them over and over and over and
yeah,
over and over. And I just bought the series for my nephews for Christmas.
yeah.
And I could have sworn that my brother read them too, but when I gave them to nephews, he's like, I don't remember this. I was like,
Yes,
what?
they're just so good.
Yeah.
I have read my copy to death. The front's missing. It's like kind of gross and stained. I don't know what it got on it, but it sits there and it's special and I'm like, I could get a new one, but like does that have the nostalgia? No. Does it have the ripped off cover and the stains when I didn't take care of it as a child?
I mean, you
uh,
could get a new one and have them sit next to each other. The one is the
oh,
pristine copy, and the other is the nostalgia
they
copy.
could be friends. But yes, I
Yeah,
love Cartoon Saloon, and they are like one of my favorite animation companies. Like
yeah,
Studio Ghibli and them really just kind of are the kings and queen of animation
yeah. I'm
because
so excited to see what else they're working on.
yes, we're done.
Yes,
Woo!
we made it.
So many movies.
I know.
uh, so many, but I enjoyed most of them.
Yes.
But I did not enjoy Pets United. That was so bad.
Yeah, even the worst of these still had, well, I don't, Fearless was kind of, I don't think I would ever watch that again.
I will never finish Pets United, and I am proud to say that. I'm sorry, people. I feel like it was made by a very small studio, so I feel a little harsh ratting on it so much. But even small studios don't have to make crap. So,
Yeah.
And this was crap. Literally and figuratively, because there was a lot of crap in this movie. Actual crap. I was like, I'm done. I'm tired of seeing animated poo, so that's enough of that.
I can't blame you. This does not sound like one I'm going to try and catch at a later date.
Like, the only good thing was, like, the first, like, 15 minutes, there was, like, no dialogue. It was just, like, the main dog just going, heh, hoo, heh, hoo, heh. And I'm like, why? Like, I enjoyed it for, like, I don't know, like, if it was a 10-minute short about a dog running from a cowboy cop robot, then sure, it would have been fine. But, like, then the movie actually continued with the plot it wanted to tell, and I'm like, no, stop. That was the only movie I disliked a lot.
Yeah, I think the only one that I fully disliked was Fearless. I don't think I'd watch that again. Even Animal Crackers was good enough that if I had to watch it again, I'd be fine watching it again.
Mm-hmm.
Fearless was just so subpar that it was just like, meh.
Yeah. You can feel the talent and the effort people put behind the other movies, even if you didn't enjoy it.
Yeah.
Like, I did not enjoy Animal Crackers, but I felt like someone, while they were working on it, there were people who liked it.
Yeah.
And so I can appreciate that they actually put effort into it.
Yeah. Even the worst of these, besides Fearless, had something to appreciate.
Yes. It was a solid year.
Yeah. And more than I kind of expected with the way theaters kind of got shut down and everything was getting delayed. And
right?
I'm glad there was some good movies still released.
Now if the Demon Slayer animated movie could come out, I'd like to watch that.
Oh, I just saw the art, like one art still from that. That looked interesting.
Yes, I watched the show, which I can't say it is a show.
Are you talking about the K-pop Demon Slayer thing?
No, not that.
Okay, we're thinking of two different things.
I want to see too, because what are they? What?
Yeah, really. That sounds so absolutely bizarre. When was this started made?
When did American studios make things like this?
Yeah.
Like, I want to watch it. No, I'm talking about there's an animated movie to a television show, kind of like My Hero Academia, and it has like some of the best animation I've ever seen.
Okay.
To it. It's called Demon Slayer Mugen Train. And I recommend at least watching the trailer. It is dark, the show, and it is like kind of gory. So, but I want people to know this is not like a kid's show. Okay. Don't go in thinking like, oh, sweet, adorable things, because there's blood, there's beheading, it's adult show, but it's so beautiful. And it came out last year in Japan. I mean, last year in Japan. And it is the top highest grossing movie in Japan.
Okay.
Yeah. Actually, the whole like series is just like blown up. It's quite an interesting story. Yeah. But I really want to watch it because the animation looks so good. But it's not in America yet. No.
I've not heard of that one. The only Demon Slayer I've heard about is the
K-pop
girls group.
K-pop
with
girl
swords.
Group. Please, I want to. Don't ruin it, please. I know how movies about a bunch of girls can be. I don't know why it's always like that, but please, I want to watch this and enjoy it, because what even? I was like, is this fake?
It seems like a fake movie.
Is this just like artists like pitching ideas that they want to do?
Yeah, that's what it seems like.
Like, I was like, because yes, but like, it's so weird. Who picked this up? Who's doing it again?
I think it's Sony.
Sony. Okay. Oh, there it is. Okay, yeah, it's Sony. Okay, yeah, like, thank you, Sony, for doing originality.
That's definitely an original idea.
I hope it doesn't. I can see it kind of falling into, hey kids, K-pop. Is that something you're into?
I
Whoa!
hope not.
Like some guy in a greasy white t-shirt is just like, what are kids into? What's trending on Twitter? K-pop? What's BTS? And then they're like, let's make a movie about that. But no, definitely, I'm really excited for that. That's one of my most anticipated movies to be coming out because I've only seen a still, but yes.
I think right now my most anticipated animated movie of this year is Luca.
Oh
Pixar's
yeah, that
next.
looks so good. I love the art style.
Yeah, it looks so unique. Like
Yeah, and folktale stuff.
yeah, that's
Yay!
true too.
That's my jam.
There's also Encanto from Disney coming up too, but I don't know enough about it to be like super
Yeah.
hyped. I know Lin-Manuel Miranda is doing music for it, so I'm excited for that. But
Oh yeah.
I don't know what the story is. I don't know what the art style is going to be.
Do
So I'm
you
looking
need
forward
that?
to it, but I'm more looking forward to Luca because I have seen a
Yeah,
trailer.
you see, you've seen. I look more forward to it because I've seen something.
And then we just had Raya come out the week that we're recording this, or like the
Yeah.
week before. So that's another one really good. Go check it out
Mhm.
if you're a fan of Disney movies.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I guess that's probably all for this episode. Do you want to let people know where they can find you if they want more from you?
You can find me in my bedroom. No. You can find me at well, not at Kate. Katie draws things. KT draws things on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. I haven't touched it in a while, but you can find me there. I draw art sometimes. I
Okay.
haven't shared much, but yeah.
I'll have
I'm
links to
hope
those.
I'm hoping to. There's a resurgence coming sometime, but I can't say when because it's crazy. There's no
Yeah.
there's no deadline.
Yeah, sometimes you have to make deadlines if you want to
Yeah, it's
do
like
things. But yeah, I get it. It's these days it's hard to find time to do what you want to do.
mm-hmm.
Okay, well, that's probably going to be all for today. So I guess we will see you in another episode. We're already planning one for the future. I don't know when that's going to happen, but
Yeah,
we'll see you for another one.
cool. Thanks for having me.
Yep, thanks for joining me. Thanks again to Katie for joining me for this episode. I'll have her links in the description below. She'll hopefully be back later this year. We have another episode in the works. We just actually need to record it. And I also need to actually finish watching one of the shows that we're talking about. Anyway, next time on the show, we're diving back into the Disney movie marathon, and we're starting another mini-series focusing on the package film era. Last year, we covered the Latin American films in this era as part of their own mini-series. But this time, we're finishing it off with 4 episodes, each one focusing on a different package film. Sarah will be joining me for those, and I'm really excited to get back into some more vintage, obscure Disney, so make sure you come back next time when we'll be looking at Make Mine Music. Thanks for listening.